Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Jellison, and welcome to AACPL's Intro to eBooks and Streaming. I'm one of your hosts. I work at the Crofton branch, and one of my specialties is ebooks and other downloadable media. So I'm very excited to have this opportunity to present this class with you today. And my co-host is Sarah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Dorr, and I'm a virtual services specialist at Library Headquarters for AACPL. And I've been working in that role since late 2020. So right during the pandemic. Now that we're coming out of the pandemic, these are still useful tools though. So we're excited to present them to you today. And the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to present a brief PowerPoint, just detailing some of the skeleton of what you're going to learn today in the agenda. And then Catherine is going to walk you through some of the nuts and bolts of what there is to learn about these resources by showing you a demo of the various resources we'll be discussing today. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Here we go. And I'll go ahead and put it in presenter mode. So hopefully you all can see my screen. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about AACPL's digital library. And what does that mean when we say digital library? So that includes ebooks, which, as you probably know, are digital copies of printed books, but it also includes e-audiobooks, which are read aloud by a professional narrator, not unlike what you'd hear on Audible or any of the other services that do read aloud books. And also e-magazines, which are digital copies of printed magazines that are in really high resolution, just so they're really beautiful to view on a Kindle or a tablet or any other device. And we're also going to talk about our streaming video services through Kanopy, which includes movies, children's book readings, educational videos, and more, like things like the Great Courses, which we'll talk about a little bit as well. So that requires an active internet connection to view. The others, you'll see you can do some downloads, but you won't need an active internet connection the whole time. But streaming video does, and it won't take up any space on your device. So this is a little bit less pertinent these days because we've gone fine free as a library, but one of the perks of digital materials is that there have never been any fines associated with them. They have a built-in due date, so you can't return them late. They just get automatically returned to us when the due date comes around. And you are certainly welcome to check them out again, but the auto renewal policy does not apply to digital materials. So let's take a moment to just discuss the difference between downloading and streaming, because that's going to affect some of the materials that you will be checking out through these resources. So when you download a material, that's saving the file to your device, and that does require both storage space on your device and an active internet connection to complete the download. But the perk of that is that your downloaded materials can be read any place that you like. You could be on a deserted beach, you could be on a plane with no Wi-Fi, high up in the sky. Any place you want, you can read your downloaded materials, so long as your device is powered, of course. Whereas streaming, that uses an active internet connection, but no file is saved to your device and no storage space is used for that material. So the benefit of that is that it doesn't change anything on your device, of course, but unfortunately for things that are streamed, you can't access them on a deserted beach, on a plane, anything like that, unless you have an active internet connection. So that's the difference between downloading and streaming when we talk about the two kinds of resources. So there are three categories of resources that we'll be talking about today, and I already alluded to them. They include ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines, and streaming video. And the specific AACPL tools that you'll be using to access these three categories vary as follows. So for ebooks, you'll be using Overdrive or Libby. We group those together because Libby is actually an app created by Overdrive, and the information that you'll find in them is going to be the same. So as far as your wish lists or your checkout, your holds, things like that, that's all going to be the same regardless of whether you access the Overdrive website through our website or the Libby app. We'll talk a little bit more about how that works a bit later. There's also Cloud Library for ebooks, which we'll discuss some of the differences between Cloud Library and Overdrive, but both of those are services that we subscribe to so that you have the best possible selection of digital materials. And then we have Tumble Books for kids, which is a service that has both books read aloud and videos of books being read, and interactive games, all kinds of cool things. So we'll talk about that a bit more later too. So the second category, e-audiobooks and e-magazines, the primary tool that you're going to use through AACPL is Overdrive and Libby. Those are, as I said, that's the website Overdrive that you can access through our website, and the app called Libby. So that's how you'll access anything you want to listen to in terms of our digital materials. And then lastly, for things you'd like to watch for streaming video, you'll be using our Kanopy app. So just a quick note on what you can expect to see in the app stores on your devices when you go ahead and download the apps for some of these. I should mention, this is a little confusing. Overdrive does have its own app that was created prior to the Libby app. Libby is also owned by Overdrive, and we tend to recommend that people use the Libby app when they have the option because it's a little more user-friendly and intuitive. However, if you do want to download the Overdrive app, it's going to have the same information in mobile form as the website does, and it's going to be that little blue O that you see on the left-hand side. And then for Libby, the Libby app, which as I said is connected to Overdrive, you're going to see that maroon little square with the little girl, and she's got a blue ribbon in her hair and she's reading kind of a blue book, teal, I should say. For Cloud Library, it's a little more straightforward. There's just a red cloud with the letters CL in red as well on a white background. So that's Cloud Library. And then Kanopy is just the word Kanopy on a black background. So that one should be easy to spot. And lastly, Tumble Books, you'll see a blue smiling book, kind of looking like a person on a green background. So that's what you'll look for in the App Store when you're downloading these apps. So let's talk about devices for a moment. So there's a number of devices that we know a lot of you might be using to access these materials. If you have an iOS or Android tablet, meaning like a Samsung or a Google tablet or something like that, or a smartphone, and that could include an Apple, it could include a Samsung, it could include any number of brands. Or if you're using any kind of Mac or PC, you're going to be able to access all of our materials on any of those devices. That includes Overdrive, Libby for ebooks and e-audio and e-magazines, and that includes Cloud Library for ebooks, and for streaming video, you would be using Kanopy. Now for Kindles, it's a little different. There's a few more restrictions because Kindle has its own format, its own app store, and a number of other things. So if you have a Kindle Fire, the primary way that you'll be accessing ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines will be through either Overdrive or Cloud Library. Libby is not currently supported on Kindle Fire or e-ink Kindle for that matter. So like I said, Overdrive and Cloud Library are going to be your main resources that you want to access if you're using a Kindle Fire for ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines. But you can access Kanopy on a Kindle Fire if you want to watch streaming videos. And lastly, if you have an e-ink Kindle, that one unfortunately doesn't have the ability to connect to Cloud Library or Kanopy. However, you can connect to Overdrive for ebooks. So now let's talk a little bit in detail about each of the resources and tools that we're going to be discussing and demoing for you today. So for Overdrive or Libby, as I mentioned, the Libby app is going to be connected to Overdrive, both the website and the app. The information in all three of those is going to be the same. There's just a different look and a different interface for Libby. So what you see on the right-hand side there in that image of the cell phone with a web page, that's what it looks like on the front page, for instance, of, I believe, the Libby app. Yes, that's the Libby app. And you can tell because down in the middle section of the bottom, you can see that icon with the maroon little girl and the teal ribbon in her hair and the teal book. So Overdrive and Libby come to us because AACPL is part of Maryland's digital library, which means that we provide as many resources digitally for you as we possibly can statewide. It offers ebooks, e-audio, and e-magazines. So for the ebooks and e-audio, you can get up to 10 holds and 10 checkouts cumulative at a time. But for e-magazines, there is no limit. So you can check out as many magazines as you like. They do still have due dates, so you can't keep them indefinitely, but you can check out as many as you like and you can keep renewing, or rather you can keep checking them out again as you go along the line. If you decide that you haven't finished a magazine in time and you'd like to check it out again, you can certainly do so. It'll be there in your reading history. So I just want to say again, Overdrive and Libby are the only source for Kindle format ebooks. So if you are using a Kindle of any kind, this is what you're going to be using for your ebooks, as well as e-audio and e-magazines if you have a Kindle Fire. So you can use, as I mentioned, the Libby app or the Overdrive app, although we do recommend Libby a little bit more. The Overdrive app works perfectly fine, but Libby is just a little easier, especially if you're somewhat new to using apps on your device. Libby is just a little easier to get used to. So something that's pretty cool is that if you are in the app, you can of course check out and place holds. However, if you're on a computer, let's say if you're on a work computer or your home laptop or desktop, you can go to our online catalog for the library, which hopefully you all know how to use. If not, please feel free to check with any of our librarians and they can walk you through that. But if you know how to use the online catalog from a computer, you can place holds and you can check out materials directly from the catalog. And the next time you log into the app for Overdrive or Libby, they'll just be right there waiting for you so that you can read them on another device. You don't have to do a transfer or anything like that. Another pretty neat feature that we have for these two apps is that when you're in Overdrive or Libby, you can suspend holds or use delayed delivery for your holds. So what this means, for instance, is that if you are going on vacation and maybe there's a book that you'd like to save for vacation, you can put yourself into the queue for a hold for that book, but you can also suspend it. You can, I think on your end, it'll say that you're freezing it until the specific time when you'd like to receive it in your inbox, in your checkout area for the AACPL account. So if you want it to come, let's say August 1st, you could say that you'd like to be in the hold queue, but you want to delay until August 1st. And that way you'll be first in line to get it when it comes due on August 1st. So that means that you won't get books ahead of time that then expire in your reading list if you're not ready to read them. The last thing I'll mention about Overdrive and Libby is that they also include a great collection of ebooks, e-audio books, and streaming video for all ages related to the deaf experience. And this is through the Deaf Culture Digital Library. So that's a great resource we have kind of within a resource. Now, Cloud Library, I mentioned earlier, is very similar to Overdrive and Libby. It's an online collection of, it's a bit smaller than Overdrive or Libby in terms of the collection that's available. But the great benefit of using Cloud Library is that sometimes for really popular titles, like if you want the new James Patterson or something like that, you'll have a shorter wait time if you look at Cloud Library. And again, when you're looking in our catalog on our website, you'll see the options in both Overdrive and Cloud Library. And you can take a look and just see how long the hold queue is. And you can put yourself in the hold queue for whichever one is shorter. And oftentimes that will be Cloud Library. And again, much like Overdrive and Libby, we have a 10 hold and 10 checkout limit on Cloud Library. It does not offer books in Kindle format. However, if you are using any of the other devices we mentioned, then you are certainly welcome to use both Overdrive and Libby and Cloud Library, particularly for ebooks, but also for e-audio and e-magazines in the case of Overdrive and Libby. So we encourage you to check out both of these resources because it's not the same across the two platforms. There are different options available. And then we have Kanopy for streaming video. So Kanopy is billed as thoughtful entertainment. They include things like documentaries, foreign films, indie films. This is one of the only resources we're talking about today that requires a separate username and password. So as you'll see when Catherine demos the resources for you, most of the others you can log in using just your library card number. So Kanopy, you would just need to create a username and password. But like most apps and most other such tools, once you do it the first time, you could probably set it up so that it auto logs you in. This one also has up to 10 checkouts per month. And once you check out a film or a piece to watch on Kanopy, you have 72 hours to watch it. The exceptions to that are Kanopy Kids, which has unlimited viewing and really great stuff that's not available on some of the other streaming media devices or streaming media platforms, I should say, like Hulu or Netflix. It has some really great programs that you wouldn't find any other place. And also, as Catherine will show you, the Great Courses, which also has unlimited viewing. There are hundreds of them available on Kanopy. And as you may know, buying them piecemeal, if you want the Great Courses on DVD, can cost somewhere upwards of $50 to $100, depending on how long the course is. But here you get them for free and you can watch as many of them as often as you like. So when you're watching Kanopy, you'll be watching it, you can watch it from any of the devices we previously mentioned, except for Kindles. So you can watch it on a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet. But a really neat feature of this is that you can also use it as you would Hulu or Netflix or Prime Video. You can use it on your streaming device. So you can use it on a Roku, an Apple TV, a Fire or Fire TV, a Chromecast. These are all options where if you download an app into your programs as you would with any other streaming service, you'll be able to watch it on the big screen. So just quickly about some other digital media that falls into the category of our digital library. I mentioned Tumblebooks. Tumblebooks is an interactive kids, it includes interactive kids books. So it includes video, games, puzzles, etc. And those are books that you can read to your kids or just let them kind of self-guide through it through Tumblebooks. It's streaming rather than downloaded, and there is no usage limit. So you can play it as long as you like, as often as you like. And then we have O'Reilly for digital library, or excuse me, for public libraries. O'Reilly for public libraries includes ebooks and videos on a lot of personal development and professional development topics that are very specific. So for instance, technology and software, things like how to code in Python. There is a concurrent user limit for O'Reilly. So we only allow up to 8 people at a time to access it through our subscription. But believe it or not, there's usually not any problem with reaching our limit. So that one is also streaming rather than downloaded. And you're going to want to check that out if you want to do anything like auto repair, or if you're trying to learn a new programming language, things like that, that require manuals that are up to date. So O'Reilly has up-to-date manuals on a wide variety of subjects. And lastly, troubleshooting. Please do feel free to reach out to us via phone, email, chat, or Facebook Messenger. We actually have features on our website that allow you, called LibChat and Email a Librarian, that allow you to reach out to us directly through our website for the email and chat features. And we will answer back usually within, if it's on 2 business days, for example, we usually answer back within 24 to at most 48 hours, but usually 24 hours. It's often quite a lot earlier than that because we have people monitoring them all day during our business hours. If you encounter a problem on any of these apps, though, one of the things that we often recommend as a first starting point is closing and reopening the app, or deleting and reinstalling the app if you find that closing and reopening doesn't work. For whatever reason, that seems to fix most of the basic problems that our patrons encounter with some of these apps. But for the most part, they'll run pretty smoothly for you because they're meant to be very user-friendly. If you encounter a problem that goes beyond something that seems just a little glitchy and you have direct questions about that app or that company, you can reach out directly to the companies themselves for troubleshooting help. We have a link to that Catherine will show you on our eBooks and More page if you want to reach out directly to Canopy or reach out directly to O'Reilly or any number of the other companies that have troubleshooting information for you. So that's it for my section of our presentation today. However, I want to make sure that I just underscore the fact that Catherine and I and all of our fellow librarian colleagues are here to help you with any of these resources anytime you need it. That's what we're here for, and we want to make sure that you get the most out of the resources that we've curated for you on our website, particularly the ones that normally require a subscription, because there's no reason to pay money for things that we've essentially subscribed to on your behalf. So we hope that we can expand your world a bit by having you use these resources. And I will pass it to Catherine.
All right, well, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to navigate to the Anne Arundel County Public Library's website. Hopefully you've been there before. If you've found this video, you probably have visited this page before. So I'd like to show you how to get to these resources that Sarah has just told you about. One way is to go to Books and More, which is right here. And you hover your mouse over that and there's a drop down menu. Go down to eBooks, eAudiobooks, eMagazines and click. And when I do that, you'll see our eBooks and More page, which is sort of a hub for all information about our digital media. So right here are quick links to Overdrive, to Cloud Library, and to Canopy. A little farther down the page, you'll see a new user guide for eBooks and eAudiobooks. And whenever you see a downward pointing arrow like that, there's usually a menu hiding or information hiding behind it. So when I click it, you'll see some info for new users about eBooks and audiobooks. Here's one info about e-magazines and then about streaming movies. There are links to download the apps for the various sources that we talked about for all those different devices. And then even farther down the page is information about some of our other sources. E-learning, there's a great class on e-learning that you should also take if you're interested in these kinds of things. We have a streaming music service called Naxos, and then some ebooks for kids and teens if you want any info on that. And then of course, at the end of the PowerPoint, Sarah mentioned that some of these companies have direct help resources. If the library's closed and you're really having trouble, you can click here and find out how to contact support for Overdrive and Canopy and some of the other resources. So that will be helpful. But let's start by going to the Overdrive website. This is the easiest way to demonstrate how to use Overdrive ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines. So I'm going to click that. And here we are. We're at the Overdrive website, and it is prompting me to sign in, and that's what it will do for you as well. So if you just click sign in, and then you'll want to select your library, which is Anne Arundel County Public Library. So if I click there, go to the drop down, select Anne Arundel, and now I've got a box to put in my library card. You're going to put all the numbers in a row with no spaces, and then click sign in. And here we are. Now we're signed into Overdrive and we're ready to explore. So let's start at the top of the page. If you ever get stuck and you on this website and you don't know how you got where you got and you just want to go back and start over, just click up here in the upper left, the Maryland Digital E-Library Consortium powered by Overdrive. That's a mouthful. So that will always take you back to this homepage. Below that are some navigation items. You can explore Overdrive's collection by subject, by collection, and collection means if you just want to look at ebooks, or you just want to look at audiobooks, or you just want to look at magazines, you can do that. And if you just want to look at Kindle books, you could click here on Kindle books, and that would take you to just a straight up listing of all the books available in Kindle format. And you can also go to the kids page and explore all the wonderful things that we have for kids. And to get out of the kids page, you'll notice our navigation changed quite a bit. Things went away. That's by design so that kids don't end up scrolling around in the adult section very inadvertently. So up here in the upper left, you just go back to the main collection. And that'll take us back where we were before. You could also explore by just viewing ebooks and e-audiobooks that are available now, as opposed to those for which you would need to place a hold and wait for. Because just like physical materials, there are waiting lists for ebooks and e-audiobooks for new and popular things too. So you may have to wait for some items, but you'll always find something available for you at any time. Just if you just want to search for a particular title or author, here's where you would do that, over here on the right. This little bell with the little wiggly bell with the red light, that's a notifications for me. So that means Overdrive is trying to tell me something, and we'll look at that in a little bit. This little book thing, looks like a little stack of books, is a quick way to get to your shelf where you can find your things that you have checked out. And then to access your entire Overdrive account, that's where you would click here and see you can get to your loans, your holds, your wish lists, etc. And a good thing to do if you're new to Overdrive and you've never checked out before is to go to your account, go down to your settings, and make sure that your loan periods are not set to 14 days. If you're a new user, they will be. That's just what Overdrive does. They set all the loan period to the middle road here. So you have the option of borrowing things for 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days. And I say, why not do as long as you can? So I recommend changing those due dates to the highest amount, and then it'll save that, and every checkout you make from there on will be for that loan period. There's some other options down here. We're not going to get into those because we have a lot to cover today. Okay, So I'm going to go back home, and I can do that easily by going to the Maryland Digital E-Library Consortium up here in the upper left. And that takes me back right where we were. So let's search for a book. I'm going to click search. And let's see, let's search for Ruth Ware. So here we go. Here are some books by Ruth Ware. And you can see this top row, there are 3 that are available. You can tell that because it says available right above the cover. And there's 1 that has a wait list. You can also, let's see, these are all ebooks. And I can tell that because down here under the cover, it says ebook. And so this, I'm seeing the cover, I'm seeing the title, I'm seeing the author. You'll notice the author's name is clickable. So if you just want to search for Ruth Ware, that's another way to do it. You see these 3 little dots here. Whenever you see something like that on a screen, there's usually a menu or some options behind there. So if you click on that, it shows me different things I could do with this 1 by 1 by Ruth Ware. I could read a sample. I can view the book details, like the blurb and reviews and that kind of thing. I can add it to my history if I've already read it. And I can also get recommendations based on that title. If I like that title, I might also like these other titles. So let's go ahead and borrow this book. So I'm going to click on borrow right there. And it's telling me I'm borrowing it for 21 days. This is another place where you can change that loan period if you'd like. I'm going to just hit borrow. And it says success. 1 by 1 is checked out to you until July 27th, 2021. And I can borrow 5 more titles. So I must already have a few things checked out because remember, you can have 10 things total checked out. And so right now, I don't want to read this book right now. I just wanted to borrow it. So now it is in my account in Overdrive. And now I can go to any device that I have, access my Overdrive account by signing in with my card number, and that book will be there. So whether it's Libby on my phone or Overdrive's website on my computer, I can even grab my mom's Kindle Paperwhite and deliver this book to that Kindle if I wanted to do that. But right now it's checked out. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to stop there. But here are your other options. If you do have a Kindle Paperwhite or something like that, an e-ink Kindle, at that point you would click this button that says Read Now with Kindle. It would open the browser, a new browser tab into Amazon's account where you would sign in, and then it would prompt you to deliver that Kindle book to your Kindle. And if you ever have any trouble getting books onto your Kindle, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to walk you through it. If you really wanted to read your ebook on your computer, you could do that. You could download the EPUB right here, and then you would have the Adobe Digital Edition software downloaded onto your computer, and the book would open in that. Or you could go to the Libby app in your browser and read it there. I don't want to overwhelm you with options, but just know that there are many different ways to get to your book and read it. But we're not going to do that right now. We just checked it out. I'm going to go down a little farther. Here's another one. This one we'd have to wait for. I can see that there's a wait list. So I'd like to place a hold. So I will click place a hold. And I've already entered my email with Overdrive. If this is your first time placing a hold, it will prompt you to enter an email address where they will notify you when your hold is available. So this tells me that I'm number 5 in line, but that we have 8 copies. So it probably won't take too long to get it, and that it will send me an email. That's where it's going to send me my email. And then it's going to recommend me some other things that are available right now that I might like based on the fact that I placed a hold on this book. So I'm going to X out of that. Here I can see, here's an audiobook. So like I said, Overdrive has ebooks, e-audiobooks, and magazines. So when you're searching, you're going to want to be aware of the format. Do you want to listen to this book or do you want to read it on your screen? And if you are someone like me, I am an audiobook only. That's just what I prefer. So over here on the left, you can refine your search and say, I only want audiobooks. So I'm going to choose the MP3 audiobook. Don't choose Overdrive Listen. That's just if you want to listen in your browser. I don't recommend that. always choose the MP3. So I'm going to click that. And what that will do is now give me a list of books by Ruth Ware that are audiobooks. So there they all are. So just be aware of the format when you're checking something out so that you don't get the wrong kind of book. All right, so let's go find these books that we've checked out and see if we can access them. So I'm going to go to my account. I'm going to go to loans. And there they are. So there's the one that we checked out today, one by one. This expires in 21 days. Here's one I checked out a little while ago. That one expires in 15 days. Here's these two expire in 9 days. So these are all ebooks, it looks like. I don't think I have any audiobooks checked out. We'll need to go check out an audiobook so that we can demonstrate that. So let's go back. Let's go and explore by collection. That's an easy way to get to a list of audiobooks, is to go under collections. And then I'm going to go over here to audiobooks. Let's do available now. I don't want to have to place a hold. I just want my audiobook right now. I'm going to click available now audiobooks. All right, here's a good one right there. We'll do Becoming by Michelle Obama. We'll borrow that. We'll click borrow. And now that's confirmed that I have checked that out and it's due on the 27th. All right, great. What else here? So this list of books is usually sorted automatically by popularity within the Anne Arundel County Library, but you can also sort it by title or by release date, by the date that these were added to the collection. You have a variety of options there, so just be aware of that. And now this is the global popularity, which is Overdrive wide. What is popular with all Overdrive users rather than just local Overdrive users. Magazines, let's look at those. So again, we'll go under collections and then we can go down to magazines and we can go by topic. Let's do popular magazines. And you can also search for a title. If you're looking for a particular magazine, you can just search for the title. But here we go. And magazines are always available. You never have to place holds. That's just the way the licensing works with those. As many people as want them can have them. So let's check out, oh, I don't know, New Scientist. So if I click on the cover of New Scientist, I can see this is the July 3rd issue. I can borrow it right here. I could also, if I missed the last issue of New Scientist and I want to make sure that I read it, the June 26th, I could go and check that one out, or any of these prior ones. As long as we've subscribed to a magazine, you can get the back issues as well. Fantastic resource. So let's just go ahead and borrow this one. So I'll hit borrow for 21 days and I'll confirm. Great. And now that is borrowed for me. Magazines do look really great in the browser, so you can definitely read them right there on your computer if you like. We're going to demonstrate how to read them in the Libby app on the computer, so I think I'll hold off on opening it for now, but now we have it checked out. And let's see what else. So the little wiggly bell, if that's moving or blinking at all, you'll want to just click on that because it means that you've got a notification. So here, I had a hold on the book Anxious People, and it came in for me on July 3rd, and I didn't check it out because I forgot. So what Overdrive will do one time for you out of courtesy is if a hold comes in for you, if in that you get 72 hours, and then if you don't check it out within that period, in the old days, it would have just gone away. You would have just missed your hold and you would have been sad. But now they will basically skip over you and freeze it for 7 days. And then the next available copy after 7 days will come in. And then if you can check that out once it's available again. If you don't check it out a second time, then they will just go ahead and remove the hold. So this is called deliver later. So Libby has automatically delivered a hold later for me. You can also deliver later a hold if you see that a hold has come in. If you go to Overdrive or Libby, whichever one you're using to access your Overdrive content, you can say, hey, I'm not ready for this yet. Please deliver it after August 5th. And then it basically freezes your hold until August 5th, at which time the next available copy will come for you. So it's a wonderful service. You can suspend your holds before they come in, and you can deliver your holds later after they come in. So that was just telling me that, and I'm fine with this. So I'll just hit X here, right here. And now I don't have any more notifications. So that was good to know. Always check your little wiggly bell over there. Up in the upper right, you'll see there's a help section. There actually is a lot of good helpful info in there. And the rest of it, you know, you can change the language if you like to a variety of different things, if that's helpful for you. And this is how you can get to the Deaf Culture Library right here. There's a link here in this blue bar. All right. I think that is most of what I wanted to show in Overdrive. Now, as we've been saying a lot, Overdrive has an app called Libby. And a way to emulate the Libby app on your computer is to go to the website libbyapp.com. And this is going to look exactly like what the Libby app looks like on your phone or on your tablet. So this is a way to demonstrate how to use that. So the first thing it's going to do is ask if I have a library card. Yes, I do. And I like to search for the library because I find it very quick and reliable. I will search by the zip code, Crofton zip code. And then I'm going to click on the Maryland Digital Library, Anne Arundel County Public Library right here. All right, great. And so now we have one more step to sign in, and now knows that we're a Maryland Digital Library user, and it's going to want to know that I'm an Anne Arundel County user, and it's going to want to know my card number because everything is tied to that card number. And then I will click sign in. And now I am signed in to the Libby app. And it's going to ask you if you prefer to read with Kindle. And if you do, you can say, yes, I do. And then that will automatically check out your ebooks in Kindle format so that you can then transfer them to your Kindle. But if you use any other device, a phone or tablet or even a Kindle Fire, I don't recommend doing that. You can just go ahead and skip it. All right, so you'll notice in the Libby app, like many apps, the navigation is at the bottom, not at the top of the page. So that's a big difference between the Overdrive website where everything was up at the top. Now here, everything is down at the bottom. And there are 5 different navigation tools that you have. Right now, we are on this one, the second from the left. It looks like a library card. This is sort of the main Libby page where you can scroll and see different collections, kind of similar to what we were looking at on their website, the available now, kids, teens, that kind of thing. Different librarian lists if you want to get some recommendations for some books you're not really sure what you want to read. There's some red, white, and blue, you know, seasonally appropriate books, etc. So that's here in the main part of Libby. If you just wanted to search, you would click this spyglass here, the magnifying glass, and you could do a search. Let's search for Ruth Ware again. And here it's letting us know right up the top that 10 of the results are books or ebooks and 7 of them are audiobooks. So if you only wanted to see the audiobooks or you only wanted to see the ebooks, these are actually clickable right here. So, or tappable if you're on your app on your phone. So if I just want the ebooks, I would click or tap where it says 10 books, and that got rid of all the audiobooks. And now it's just showing me the ebooks. So here's one. It's telling me, hey, this is on your loan shelf. Well, great, good to know. That's one we just checked out. Here's Turn of the Key. That one, I could borrow it right now if I wanted to. I could borrow this one as well. This one, yeah, I could borrow all of these. So this one, I'd have to place a hold. I did place a hold. Look, it's telling me it's on the hold shelf. And if I wanted this one, I'd have to place a hold as well. And I could just do that by placing a hold. Like so. So very similar to placing a hold in Overdrive. And then to go back to our search list, I'm going to go up here in the upper left and click where it says Ruth Ware, back that way. And now we're back at our search results, the ebooks for Ruth Ware. Over here on the right, where it says refine and the three little lines, if I were to click that, you can do some further refining. If you just want something that's available now, you could do that, and that would get rid of the things that you have to place a hold on. You can further narrow down or refine your search. And so I'm going to go back. We can search for something else. And there's another example of searching. And you can see if it's something that Libby shows that Overdrive doesn't necessarily show right up front is the number in a series. If a book is part of a series, you can see that this one is number 1, this one's number 5, this one's number 3. So that's really nice. You can click on that series there and see all of them in a row, which is very helpful. Oops. And then just click somewhere else to make that go away. Okay, I'm going to go back. So now let's look. So we've done searching. We've seen the main page. Let's go over here to your shelf. So again, it looks like a little stack of books. And you'll see there's all the same things that we just checked out. They're here in Libby because Libby and Overdrive are the same. They just present the same info in a different way. And so here I have on my shelf, I have 7 loans, 7 holds. I could go to either one of those things here, and that'll also always show you your recent loans and holds right there. So here's some other things. Let's open an ebook and see what that looks like in Libby. So I'm going to click read with, and this is going to ask me if I want to read it on my Kindle or if I want to read it in Libby, and I do want to read it in Libby, so I'm going to click that one. And then the ebook will open, and I was actually reading this one before, so it has picked up right where I left off last time. I'm 5% into the book. So here we are, and there are some options that some menu options we can do. So right now we're viewing a double page spread, so 2 pages right next to each other. If I click the circle with the lines in it, that will make it a single page spread if that's what you prefer. And then you can always make it go back to double by clicking again. The icon next to that, the large A, that's where you would click to adjust your font or type of font or font size. You can drag this slider over to make it bigger or smaller. And if you go a little farther down, you can also change the background. The background. This is bright. We can also make it sepia or dark if you're reading in the dark. You can go down and change the font to different fonts, including an open dyslexic font to help folks that have dyslexia, make them able to read it a little more easily. Or you can just go with the default of whatever the publisher chose. And then to make this little menu go away, you can just click hide. And then next to the big A up in the upper right is a search. Again, you can search within a book. There must be somebody named John in here, right? There's John in every book. There you go. So it'll pick up anywhere. And if you click on any of these, it'll take you right to that page. I'm going to hide this again. And then finally, bookmarks. So if I go, to turn a page, you would just click or tap to the right side of the screen, like so. And then to make the menus appear again, you would click or tap in the middle of the screen. So you see when I'm tapping or clicking in the middle, those menus appear and disappear. So to make a bookmark, I would click this little thing up here in the upper right. Now I've made a bookmark on this page. And I'll go a couple more pages up, and then I'll make another bookmark. And where do I find those bookmarks? Well, in the upper right, all the way in the upper right, the thing that looks like a multiple bookmark. Click there, and now you see all the bookmarks that we've made today and previous to today. And again, I'll hit hide to make that go away. All right, and to get out of your book, you would click back up here in the upper left. And that'll take you back to your shelf. So that's a quick demo of how to read an ebook in Libby. Let's open an audiobook and see what that's like. So I'm going to click open in Libby. And the main controls here are play,
Penguin Random House Audio presents,
and pause, which are the same button. So when it's playing, it's the pause button, and when it's paused, it's the play button. So your best friend is right here, your 15-second rewind. So if you're anything like me, you're listening to your audiobook and then you start thinking about your grocery list or the things you need to cook for dinner tonight, and you say, what did she just say? I wasn't listening at all. So you tap or click 15-second rewind a few times until you get to a part where you were paying attention. So I use that a lot. Things I use less frequently, but that are still up here if you need to use them, are the menu options in the upper right. So this little thing that looks like a clock, that will change the speed of the narrator. It is default to normal speech speed, but if you really want to get that book read, you can increase it and see. Let's see what that sounds like.
Becoming by Michelle Obama. Read for you by the author.
It's a little fast for
All the
me.
people who helped me become the folks who raised me, Fraser.
So, but just know you can do that if you want. And you can, I think, make it slower too. And then that can sound pretty funny as well.
Marion, Craig, and my vast extended family.
Anyway, I recommend one speed, normal speed. Next to that is a thing that looks like a moon. That is a sleep timer. So if you'd like to listen to your book just for, one more minute or the end of the chapter or 15 minutes or something like that, you can set it to do that and it will play for that length of time and then stop. So that is available to you as well. And again, here you can make bookmarks, even in audiobooks. You can make the bookmark by clicking the single bookmark, and then you would find your bookmarks by clicking the multiple bookmark. So that is audiobooks. I love them. Hopefully you do too. So I'm going to get back out of there and let's look at a magazine. So here I'm going to say open this magazine in Libby. And there we go. Similar to both the ebooks and the audiobooks, there are menu items in the upper right that give you different options. You can go from the single to the double page spread. You can change the font, you can search, you can do your bookmarks, and zooming, which is very important in a magazine because, as you can probably tell already, that print is going to be too small for me to read once I get into this magazine. I can't read that. There's no way. So if you tap or click in the middle of the screen and click your zoom up here, now we have zoomed in enough where I can actually read it okay, but it might be nice to have it be a little bigger. And you see down in the bottom right, the plus and the minus. So you just click the plus until it gets to a size that you like. But then you're, okay, I can't see all the words. Half of them are hanging off the screen. So you either take your, well, if you're on your app, you're going to be pinching and zooming to do this zooming anyway. But if you're on a computer, you take your mouse and you click and you hold down or grab it and then move your mouse. So you can actually move the whole page around to see all the text that you need. On tablets and phones, you're going to be pinching and zooming, and it's a lot more intuitive. But you can still totally do this on a computer. And then when you're done with that page, you want to go to the next page, you just, you can zoom back out with your wheel on your mouse like I just did, or you can just click the minus until it gets back to the normal size. You'll see down here are all the pages in the magazine. You can flip through it right here on the bottom and click on any of those pages, and that'll take you right to that page. Again, clicking in the middle or tapping in the middle of the page makes the menus appear and disappear. And then to go back, I would just click the back arrow. So that's a magazine, and that's Libby. And let's see, over here, the last, well, we haven't done the middle one, we'll do that last. But so we're down on the bottom again, and I'm gonna click the thing that looks like a clock, and that shows you your timeline. So here today is July 6th. So everything under the 6 are things that we did today. We placed a hold, we borrowed a couple of books, we placed another hold, and then we borrowed another book. And then on the 29th, I did some things as well. So, and then on the 23rd, I did some other things. So that's also there if you want to just review what you've done and make sure that you checked out all the books you thought you did. And then finally in the center, if I click the little picture of Libby, that will take us to our menu and account options and things like that. So it's asking me would I like to sync the titles in my Overdrive wish list to a tag. So I guess I need to talk about tags in a minute, but I won't right now. Let's see, the next thing it's telling me about that hold that was delivered and that I did not check out. We saw that notification in the Overdrive website, and then just another one that happened again. So that's where the notifications, your notifications appear in Libby, the same place, the same kind of notifications you would get in Overdrive. Here is where your library cards live. Right now I can click see library cards, and there is my one card. Now, when I first added my card, it did not say Catherine's card. It said linked card. And that's what yours will say when you first enter it. So you can change it by clicking actions right here and then rename card. And so I want to call it because I would like to add another card. Let's say you and your spouse share a device and you both want to be able to use Libby with your own accounts and your own checkouts and holds. You can do that. So you would just go to open the Libby app on that device, click the Libby face in the middle and the bottom, go to manage library cards, or what does it say? See library cards, see library cards, and then add another card. And at that point, it would say, let's take a moment to sign you in. Where do you use your library card? I use it in Anne Arundel County. And then you would put in your other card number. And click sign in. And now I've already renamed this card. This is my dog Bruce's card. And I just hit next. And now Bruce's card is the active card right now in Libby. And I'm not active, but I'm there and I can activate myself at any time. And you can add more cards, really as many as you like. And if you have a card in a county that isn't part of the Maryland Digital Library Consortium, like Prince George's County, for example, has their own Overdrive subscription separate from the Maryland Digital Library. So you had their card, you can enter that and access all their collections as well. So I'm going to activate my card. And then I'm actually, let me remove Bruce's card. I'm going to remove Bruce's card. And it's asking me to, yes, I'm going to remove it. And I'll leave my card there. So that's how you would add more cards. Under help and support, if you ever want to change where you like to read your ebooks, if you do get an e-ink Kindle and you want to switch over to that, you can tap Kindle. You can change it from Kindle to Libby at any time. And now I'm going to hide that whole thing. Okay, so a brief talk about tags. So tagging is a way to organize your books in Libby. And I'll give you an example. Right now, I don't have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks, but I keep reading about titles that I want to read. So let's just go with Ruth Ware again. Let's say I really want to read Turn of the Key, but I don't have time yet. So I'm going to hit tag, and I have made a tag. No, I can make a new tag. And I'm going to call that tag to read. And I can even describe it. Books I want to read this summer. And, okay. And then I'm going to say done. And now that book is tagged to read. And let's say I also want to tag The Woman in Cabin 10, the audiobook. I want to listen to that because I heard the narrator was really good. I can tag that to read. And now we've got 2 titles in that list. And let's say I also want to add this one, tag to read. So great. Well, where do I find, let's say I'm ready to pick a book to read. I've got my time back. Where are those tags? Well, if you go back to your shelf, which is down here, the little stack of books, and you go up to under your shelf, hey, look, there's a tag, to read. So if I click that, boom, there are the books that I just said I wanted to read. And if I'm ready to check them out, I can just click right there and do a checkout or place a hold if they're not available. So that's, Libby uses tags to, you can use tags in Libby to create lists of books for yourself. And then you can try to sync them back and forth with the Overdrive website. I do recommend, if you're going to be using tags in Libby, that you kind of stick with Libby for that, because you can get your Overdrive wishlist tags into Libby, but I'm not sure that you can take them the other way. And 2, be aware if you are a heavy tag user in Libby, that if you do have to delete the app for some reason, that you'll want to export those tags out of there before you delete the app and reinstall it, because they will go away. So consult with us, please, before you do that. We can show you how to do that. I think that's all I wanted to show about the Libby app. And so now I'm going to move on to the Cloud Library. And to do that, I'm going to go back to our website. I'll show you a slightly different way to get to our digital library. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit just below the front page to our digital library. There it is. And here's Cloud Library right here. That takes me to a page of information about Cloud Library, about a link to the app, how to log in, how many books I can have out at once, etc. I'm going to click Cloud Library there. And it is going to prompt me to log in. So I will do that. I'll click that green button up there. And it's just going to want the card number, because we have our own subscription to this. So we don't need to tell it we're in Anne Arundel County. It already knows. I'm going to hit log in. And then you'll also need to click accept right here on the left. And now we are logged into Cloud Library. And what we are looking at now is a list of their featured books. So our navigation for Cloud Library is at the top of the page. It starts up here. Again, you can always get back to the home page by clicking up here in the upper left, Anne Arundel County Public Library. Right now we're looking at the featured books. You can tell because that word is in blue and underlined, whereas these words are not. If I were to hit browse, then that word is in blue and underlined, and now the other ones are not. So we are browsing now by topic. There's lots of different topics in here, and the app works and operates much like the website. So if I want to see where my books are that I have checked out, I would click on my books. And there I have 2 books checked out. And if they had any messages from Cloud, that's where they would be. Filters, we only have their ebooks, not audiobooks. So you don't really have to worry about this. The only filter you would really be concerned about is if you just wanted to see books that were available right now and you didn't want to place a hold. So you could choose to do that if you wanted. Under your settings, this is where you can choose to get an email when ebooks on hold become available. You would say yes, notify me, and then you would put in an email address. And that's pretty much it. Cloud is very simple compared to Overdrive. It's just ebooks. You can't freeze your hold. You can't deliver later. The book becomes available to you. You have 72 hours to check it out. If you don't check it out, it just goes away and you got to place another hold. So you'll want to definitely be attentive to your Cloud Library collection and what you're doing in there, because they don't yet have a lot of those kinds of options, but they're working on it. So we hope in the future they'll also have freezing holds and hold redelivery and that type of thing. So here the view of the books is a little bit different. You still see the covers, but instead of a list going down, you have a list that kind of goes across. If I click this right pointing arrow, it's showing me more books in this category, the Pride Month category, and then the recently arrived category. You could also choose a list view if you want by clicking list view right here. And then that will put that top line of books in more of a straight line display, just whatever you're more comfortable with. And if I wanted to borrow a book, I would click borrow. Automatically going to be 21 days. They don't do different loan periods here, so very simple. And then let's borrow one more. All right, so where are those books? They are under my books, right there. And so let's say I want to read this book here. I'm going to click read. It will open. And the way they operate is very similar to Overdrive. Again, click or tap in the middle of the page to bring up the menus. And you'll see up here in the upper right, here's the big and small A. That's where I would change the font. To make it bigger, I would click the larger of the two buttons there, and as many times as I needed to get it to the size I would want. You can make the picture, the background a different color, and the layout can be single or double. And you can change the font as well. And to get out of that, you would click this X in the upper right. And this set of lines here, that's the contents. So you could go to a particular chapter, and those are all clickable. If you had made any bookmarks by clicking this little bookmark here, then that's where you would access. And there I have one on page 10. So that's where you would get to that kind of thing. And then the I with the circle around it means info. And that's basically the details of the book, the blurb that you would read inside the cover and that kind of thing. And so to get out of it, you would just click the X in the upper left. And that should take me back to my books. You can also see, so right now we're under my books, there are 4 different things. There's what you're reading now, your holds. So here's a hold I have. It's going to give me a rough estimate of how long I can anticipate before it will be ready. If I click my history, it'll show me all the books that I've had out in the past. And this little thing that looks like a flag are books of interest. So this is kind of like a wish list or a to-read list. So let me quickly go back to a featured list here and find a book. Let's say I want to make this book a book of interest. I would click this little empty flag here, right here next to the word EPUB. And that would put it in that books of interest under my books. And then right here. So now that book is there. So I can, if I want to make a list of things I'd like to read later, that's where I would find them. Okay. So I think that's all I want to cover in Cloud Library. I did remember something that I didn't cover in Libby. So if you'll indulge me, I will go back for a moment. I should still be logged in. Yes, excellent. Okay. I wanted to talk about the manage loan option. And so when you're on your, so right now we are on our shelf. And again, that shelf is located right here at the bottom. That looks like a pile of books. So if you click manage loan next to your item, if you're ready to return it, that's where you would do that. You would click return. If this book were within 3 days of its due date and it was available for renewal, then you could actually renew it. And that would be available here. Right now it's grayed out because it's not within 3 days of the due date. If I wanted to share the title on social with a friend, I could do that. Not the book itself, I don't believe, but just share that, hey, I'm reading this book. And it is tagged with borrowed because everything that you borrow in Libby will have the borrowed tag. That's where you would access a list of things that you have borrowed in the past. And that's right here at the top, borrowed. So that's going to be everything that I borrowed in Libby. Okay. And then under holds, I wanted to show manage hold. So if I want to cancel that hold. That's where I would do that. If I don't want it to come in right now, I'm going to say deliver later, deliver it after 15 days. And then I'll say update that hold. And now I have pushed that hold off. I don't want it to come in for a while because I'm not ready. And then in the upper left, I'll go and click to go back to my holds. So I just wanted to show those options. All right. So now it's time for Canopy. So I'm going to go back to the library's homepage again. I'm going to go back to Books and More, eBooks, and hey, look, there's Canopy right there. So let's click that. And that's going to give me a little bit of an informational page on Canopy. And I can just click right there where it says stream over 30,000 films. And when you get to the Canopy page, you always, so if you're going to be using Canopy, the very first time you want to go on a browser, like I'm doing now on my computer or on your tablet, but in a browser, go to our website, go to the link I just showed you, and go to add library card down here, because this is where you're going to create your Canopy account. Unlike Overdrive and Cloud Library, where you just used your card number, you will also need to create a username and a password with Canopy. And you will use that username password combination to sign into the app if you're going to use Canopy on a Roku device or an Apple TV or on your tablet or phone or whatever. You can't create the username and password in the app. You need to create it on their website. So that's what we're going to do now. You click add library card. You just need to do this once. So at this point, you would put in your library card number, no spaces. And then down here, you would type your 4-digit library PIN. And if you don't know what that is, don't feel bad. Lots of people don't know that they even have a PIN, much less what it is. So give us a call or shoot us an email or chat or whatever. We're happy to look up your PIN number for you. So once you enter those 2 pieces of information, you're going to hit continue. And then it's going to take you to a page that looks like this, where you would create an account. So you would put in an email address, and then you would make a password that you can remember easily. And then you would click, it probably will say create account. I can't do it because I've already created an account for this card, but the screen looks just like this. So once you have put in your username and password, and you click log in, then it will welcome you and show you what movies we have to offer today. Okay, so here we are. Now up in the top, again, the navigation is along the top of the page. If you ever get stuck in the Canopy website and you just want to get back to the beginning where we are now, you would click that word Canopy. Over here, you can search right here, obviously, in this big box if you're looking for something specific. You could go to Browse, and then that's a drop down, and then each one of these is a drop down as well. Business, health, sciences, lots of different topics you could browse. If I would like to go to Canopy Kids, which we will in a moment. If I want to see my account, I would click on or hover over my name, and I would see my dashboard, my watch list, viewing history, memberships, etc. And then you see the number 10. That's because I have not used any of my 10 Canopy credits this month of July, so I have all 10 left. So here we go. There's lots of cool things. We've got newly added documentaries, newly added world cinema, and series. My goodness, look at all these things. And new and noteworthy summertime cinema, Oscar nominees, all kinds of good stuff. And I'm going to go down, farther down to, there's stuff that's trending. I'm looking for great courses, but I don't see them listed. So let's find another way to get into the great courses. I believe if I type great courses and I go down here under suppliers, I could click where it says the great courses, and it should bring me a list of all the great courses that are listed here in Canopy. There they are. There's a whole lot. So my goodness, let's pick one. How about dog training? If I click on dog training, you'll see that there are 24 episodes in this series. And remember, the great courses don't use any of your credits. So you can watch as many of those as you want, and I'll still have 10 credits when I'm done. So I could play episode 1. I could add it to my list here. I could go down farther down and see all the different episodes and click right into the one that I wanted to get into. And this one, some of these even have supplemental material. This has a downloadable PDF that you can download and view that accompanies the video courses. So it's really neat, really valuable resource. But let's go back home again. And let's just look at a regular movie and see what that looks like. So let's open Kicking and Screaming right here. So this is going to show to me there. Sometimes I can watch a trailer. I don't see a trailer for this one. So that's okay. But I could add it to my list if I want to watch this later. Now it's been added to my watch list, and I'll show you where to find that later. You can read the summary of it to see if it sounds like that's something that interests you. People who watch this also watch these other things. You can get recommendations. And if you want to watch it, you would just click play right here in the middle, and it will start playing, and it will use one of my credits. And then once I've clicked that, I have 72 hours to watch that particular film as many times as I want using that one credit. If I watch it on the 4th day, it's a new play credit. So just be aware of that. And let's go. So my watch list, again, is here. If I hover over my name and I go down to my watch list and click, then here we see that that's there, and I can watch it now. So these are all the things I put on my watch list. So once we're in here, we're in our account, you see these other items across the top of the page: dashboard, my watch list. That's where we are now. You can tell because it's underlined in orange. Viewing history, comments, if I've made any, which I haven't. Playlist, which I haven't really made, but you can. And membership. So if you had another card that you would like to add to your Canopy account, you could do that. I have another card in Howard County because they also subscribe to Canopy. So I could use either one of those cards. So I can get, I believe Howard County gives you 8 play credits per month. So in reality, I have 18 play credits per month because I have 10 from Anne Arundel and 8 from Howard. And to add a new membership, you would just click add a new membership right here in the orange and follow the prompts. But right now, I'm going to go up to Canopy Kids, which is right here, to show you all the great things that we have for kids at the tip of your fingers. Now that kids are going back to school in the fall, and maybe the screen time will be a little less, maybe they can watch a little more TV. But let's make it some quality TV, like Reading Rainbow, or some of these highlights things, Sesame Street, readings of children's books, videos, fantastic stuff. If they are interested in learning languages, we have we have Muzzy. Sometimes we have Muzzy, sometimes we have Little Pim. It sort of depends on the day. But lots of videos for learning language and stories around the world, that kind of stuff. Lots of great stuff for Canopy Kids. And none of these use your credits either. So none of that stuff will use your credit. None of the great courses will use your credit. It's really just movies that use those credits. And to get out of Canopy Kids, you would click exit Canopy Kids up here in the orange lettering. And that'll take us back where we were. So again, if you have a Roku or other device, you would go to their channel store or app store on that device, search for Canopy, download the Canopy app. If you're on your phone or your tablet, you would go to the app store, download the Canopy app, and then sign into the app with your username and password that you created on the website like we just did. And then you're in, and you can watch things on the big screen rather than your little teeny screen. So hopefully you will get a lot of use out of that. And I'm going to go back to our website just to show you, if you ever have any trouble or you want some help, need a little bit of guidance on these materials, or we are there for you. You can chat with us, which is right here. See on the right-hand side, if you just click chat with us and put in your name and your email address and your question, and you can start a chat. You can also go up here to the contact us link and you can email your question as well. So that takes you to a form. You put in your email and your name and your little message, and then a live person will email you back. I'm one of the people, both of us actually are people that check those emails and respond to them. So please feel free to do that at any time. We are here to help and want you to be successful in using all of these great resources. So I guess that's pretty much it, huh, Sarah?
I would say so, actually, yes.
All right, well, we hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and go forth and download and stream.
Thank you so much.
Yay.